Hello, planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730. I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffington Post. Today we'll be reviewing and recapping Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, number 19. It's Freaky Giles Day. And let me just say, yay! I was totally wrong, and Giles is not going to stay an adult. So, yay. Oh my god, I was so worried about this. So, I feel like we don't really need to do a whole lot of recapping for this issue because it's pretty much a standalone, so we're just going to jump right into it. It's the Buffington Post review and recap for Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, number 19. Here we go.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. And may you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. And may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young.
Alright, so I was so worried about this issue because I love Kid Giles. I think it adds something amazing to the Buffyverse. It's so smart, and I just wish I had been in the writer's room when they introduced the idea in Season 9. So, here we go. We open up, and Giles has been told that he can be an adult. Now, Willow tells him that the caveat is that this spell is only going to work for about 48 hours. It's a rapid age spell, and she can put it on him, but she'll have to do a reversal spell. Otherwise, he'll, get super old and die within that 48 hours. Yeah, she says she can't do it again because once she does the reversal spell, it kind of works as an immunity on him, and so she won't be able to perform this growing up real quick spell again. And the spell will actually make Giles age rapidly over the next 2 days, and so he will end up being the Giles that we lost in the first place. Giles immediately texts Olivia, and he's like, hey, are you free? Yeah, she's free, so they want to do this right now. So then Dawn comes downstairs, and she says, hey, it's Dad, he's on the phone, blah, blah, blah. And so Buffy's not too thrilled about this because, let's face it, Hank Summers is the most absent father ever. So anyway, he wants to do lunch with them and talk to them about something or other. So Xander says to Buffy, my parents suck too, and I just wouldn't put too much faith in Hank because, he sucks and don't get your hopes up. And Buffy basically says, look, dude, this guy's disappointed me so many times, he can't surprise me anymore, I'm over it. So Willow sends Buffy and Xander off to collect some ingredients, and then we pick back up with them as they're doing the spell. So Willow hocus pocuses Giles all into an adult real quick, right? And he, of course, grows out of his clothes and he has to borrow some of Xander's. So then he shows up at Olivia's place, and he's basically like 20 or so. He's been aged up, but not fully aged to the Giles that we had. So turns out that Buffy had saved some of Giles' glasses just for, sentimental value. And so, yay, Giles can see. So he and Olivia are talking, and then she's like, oh, let's do it. I'm glad you're not a kid anymore. And so, yeah, not only does she get to do it with Giles, she gets to do it with a Giles she's never gotten to do it with before because he's, like, super young and studly. The next morning, we see that Olivia has to go off to work, and Giles has to figure out what he's going to do with his adulthood for the day. So we see Giles do a couple of things. He test drives a car, and then we actually get him talking to Sophronia and Lavinia. And this is really funny because, of course, Sophronia and Lavinia, their whole thing is they want to stay young and cute forever. And they're really just kind of appalled at the idea that Giles would want to really quickly age himself. They just think it's gross. So anyway, Giles goes back to Buffy, Dawn, and Willow's apartment, and Willow is off to finally go and interview for the final time with Theo Daniels. I don't know where this has been all season, and I have to say that when the issue opens up, they are all sitting around in the apartment at noon. Buffy doesn't have a job. Xander is supposed to have a job. Spike, they actually say Spike is out doing a job with the cops. And again, this is at noon, which is probably very dangerous for Spike, but he's still at work. So why are all of these motherfuckers sitting around at noon, especially if Willow is unemployed? Anyway. So Giles is talking to Willow about how she might want to wear something a little bit more professional. Basically, Willow says, I'm going to work for a tech firm. We'd have yoga breaks and all this good stuff. They want me to be creative and work at my own pace and all this good stuff. But thanks for caring, Giles. I'm out of here. So, whatever. Dawn and Buffy are getting ready to go to have lunch with Hank. And this is not cute because, we just don't like Hank. It's not that we don't really like him, we just don't know him, and that's a good reason not to like him because he just has not been around for Buffy's life or Dawn's. She died, she was... it's just crazy. So anyway, Giles says, maybe I can give you some advice on, how to deal with your father. And basically Buffy says, no, Giles, I don't want your advice because what I need right now is somebody who is a normal adult to give me advice on being a normal adult. And let's face it, Giles, you're anything but normal. You have not lived a normal life by any means, so don't start lecturing me on how to deal with my father. Well, Giles gets pissed off about this and he just leaves. So Buffy is like, oh my gosh, you shut up and you let's go. So she and Dawn go to have lunch with Hank. And basically Hank is like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, you're so mature now. And Buffy's like, yeah, well that's what happens when, months and years pass without you seeing your daughters. So Hank has moved to the area because he's, working in Silicon Valley doing some tech startup bullshit. So anyway, Hank feels a little embarrassed about the idea, or the fact rather, that he just hasn't been around for his daughters this whole time, basically since, when's the last time we saw Hank? Can you guess? It was season 2. We have not seen Hank since season 2. Anyway. So yeah, we find out that Hank is getting married to this bitch named Paige. So Buffy says, oh, I see. Now, exactly how ugly are these bridesmaids' dresses? And that's what Hank wanted to talk to Buffy and Dawn about. You see, Buffy has, kind of been on television. The whole world knows about vampires and slayers and demons and magic and all the whole crazy. And everybody knows about Buffy. And so Paige, this new wifey of Hank's, she has children of her own, and she and Hank are just not comfortable with Buffy being at the wedding due to the fact that she is a demon magnet and the people around her die. So Dawn immediately is just like, fuck you, how dare you come in here after all of these years, tell us that you're getting remarried, and then tell Buffy that she's not invited to your wedding. Fuck you, you don't know us. And basically Buffy says, hey, look at everything that's happened. Jenny Calendar, Tara, Anya, he's not wrong. And so basically, Buffy is just feeling like shit about herself. So then we pick up with Xander and Giles, and they're sitting around playing video games. But the fact of the matter is, Giles, who had been playing video games, yesterday, he's not as good at it because now he's old and he doesn't have, hand-eye coordination of a 12-year-old. So he gets super fed up with it, and Xander says, well, screw this, let's go get a beer. You're 21 now. Yay! So they go out to get a beer, but then holy shit, they're attacked by this demon because, the trio of evil motherfuckers, the mistress, the demon sculptor, and the calamari glutton, they've got this restless door portal majigger that they are, trying to use against us. Well, yeah, so this ugly demon comes out, he is not cute, and attacks Xander and Giles. In the meantime, we've got Buffy and Dawn who have left lunch with Hank. And Buffy is just basically like, I realize that you may want to participate in this wedding, etc., etc., etc. And Dawn basically says, no, I don't want to go to his wedding. He's not my parent. When Mom died, you became both of my parents. Buffy says, I'm glad you didn't tell me that at the time because I would have been scared out of my pants. But the fact of the matter is, Dawn has this whole life ahead of her, and she's not a slayer, and she's got to go to study group or whatever. But she says, Buffy, if if you want, I can totally skip the study group stuff and just hang out with you. And Buffy says, I'm fine. But it's not totally fine because, as I've said before, Dawn is a real person and she has the world at her fingertips. And that's something that Buffy just will never have. She's always got this Slayer responsibility. And seeing Dawn really start to grow up is, really hitting home with Buffy and realizing that she's very alone. And that's something that Buffy always is and yet isn't because of, the fact that she surrounds herself with all of these people. But the fact of the matter is that she's the Slayer. Back with Xander and Giles, Giles is trying to, get this demon away with magic, but since Giles rapidly aged, he's technically been out of it with magic. He's not been practicing throughout the years as he should have been, and so his body is just not good at working with magic. So this is a problem, but not so much because then he breaks into the store, grabs a guitar, and just starts smashing the shit out of the demon with the guitar. And he says, some skills you just don't ever lose. So anyway, Willow shows up. She's like, holy shit, I saw everything that went down. What are we going to do? And Giles says, well, apparently Xander and I have been targeted by the trio of evil motherfuckers because I guess we look the weakest. And so he says, just go ahead and undo the spell on me because I don't want to put Olivia in any more danger. So they go into the apartment complex, and as they are, Giles is looking at his reflection and realizing that he's got this in his future, and his future is a very, very long way ahead of him. And there's really no getting around it. Giles is having to live his entire life over again in a way that really just he can't understand. So anyway, Giles is just chilling, having a drink before the reversal spell takes effect and he's back to being a kid, and Buffy shows up. So Buffy comes in and she says, I know this really sucks for you, and I'm sorry about what I said earlier. I am always going to need you to, teach me and guide me and all that good stuff. And Giles says, well, I heard from Dawn about what happened with Hank, and, don't sweat him. He's a dick. And Buffy says, I know he's a dick, and the fact of the matter is, I was thinking that, my father figure was never there, but I had a really good father figure. Somebody, you, was always there for me when I really needed you, so thank you. And Giles and Buffy kind of have this moment, and they're talking back and forth, and Buffy asks him how much longer, he's going to be an adult. And he says, I guess for like the next 2 hours or so. And Buffy says, well, what are your plans? And he says he doesn't really have any. And so then Buffy and Giles just cry on each other's shoulders. And it's really lovely. This issue totally got me teary at the end. I'm just teary just thinking about it. I had to put this away. So yeah, I really like this issue. I'm so glad that Giles is going to go back to being a kid. I love Kid Giles, like I said. And I really love that Buffy and Giles had this issue to come together and cry and realize what it is that each other is missing. Buffy is missing out on this normal life that Dawn gets to have. And in a lot of ways, I think Buffy, throughout the series, has shown a real jealousy of Dawn's possibilities. I mean, she literally has all the potential in the world to be whatever it is that she wants to be, and Buffy is never going to have that for herself. The moments between Xander and Giles here were actually pretty funny. We get some impotency jokes, and it's really silly. I like seeing Olivia again. We probably won't ever see Olivia again, now that I think about it. I mean, she can't have a relationship with a 12-year-old Giles, and I hate it for him, but that's just life. I'm really excited to see where Giles is going to go throughout the seasons. I don't even know how many seasons they've planned out for, the continuation of the series. I don't ever want to see Buffy go away. What else have we got here? We've got Willow. Like I said, it's great that she's finally going to, follow up on this job that we found out about in issue number 10, so that's great. What else have we really got here? Well, we know that the Sculptor and the Calamari Glutton and the Siren Mistress have this portal, and they've already started using it, and so that's something, I guess. And yeah, we really have no idea where they are. They could be in another dimension for all we know because they've got the restless door situation. Yeah, the art is good. Rebecca Isaacs, you know how to draw Buffy and her fellow characters. There's just I just really like this issue. And fuck Hank, he sucks. He's a dick. He and Paige can go get married in Timbuktu for all I care. So sick of that. And also we have Xander reminding Giles that everybody knows about vampires and witches and magic and demons and all this crazy stuff. And so being a watcher is pretty much everybody's responsibility now. So not only do we have Giles growing up, but he's not necessarily going to offer that same thing that he did before because the Watchers Club is the Watchers Club. The Watchers Council is kind of like this very exclusive boys club, and only really they were in the know on demons and such. But now the whole world at large really is, and Giles is going to lose that little thing that made him so special. And so I think that's really important. I love this issue for exploring the idea that Giles has his whole life ahead of him again. And as I said in my number 11 review, it kind of sucks for him. But as Buffy reminds Giles in this issue, growing up kind of sucks for everybody. But at the same time, it's a really exciting prospect for the verse. That's pretty much all for today, you guys. I hope you're having a great 2015 so far. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime. I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, my continued Season 9 coverage. You can check that out, and more. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye.
My eye, girl, I never loved one like you. Man, oh man, you're my best friend. I scream it too. There's nothing that there ain't nothing that I need. Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you. Oh, let me go home.
The Watchers Club.